Hello, Priyanka, all the way in Belgium. Coach
Hi.
E. Nice to see you today. Thank you for making the time to speak with me in this Kids Life Coach in the Spotlight. I was really excited to speak with you. I was hoping you'd have like some Belgian chocolate there. You know, I am a bit of a self-confessed chocoholic. So we've been working together for quite a while now. How long since we've known each other?
I think about a year and a half.
Yeah, quite about 18 months. And recently
Yeah.
we attended a retreat together where you came to England for 7 days and we did all sorts of fun, playful things. I've really gotten to know you well. But when I spoke to you at the retreat, I realized there's so many beautiful layers to you, and you're such a passionate, intense person when it comes to children that I would love to share a bit of that with the people who are listening. So let's just dive straight in. I'm sure people are wondering what it is that made you choose to become a kids life coach.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad we're getting to, have this chat, Zelna. And I think when the first thing that comes to me when I think of that is honestly my love for being able to inspire children. I think that knowing that they have so many things to sort of absorb from the adults that are around them, and knowing the power that I have to be able to motivate them to just, to be who they can be at their best level feels very, motivating for me in many ways. And I also feel like there's this beautiful story that children have where the experiences around them as adults, without even them knowing it, really do shape who they become. I mean, as children, really shape who they become as adults, And I think that by just setting these patterns without even them realizing that there's these long-term motives behind them, and doing it in a way that allows them to just feel like they're being kids because that's what's normal for them and that's how they think, and getting down to a point where you enjoy those moments with them feels the most natural to me.
Yeah.
And coaching is beautiful because it has these lots of different ways of this, almost like this little palm tree that opens up where you can kind of take it wherever you want to go. And in the end, whatever route you take with them, there is a growth aspect. And that's
Absolutely. You spoke about experiences that shape children. So I'm really curious, what experiences brought you to this point? Like, where were you before this?
So I grew up in the US. I was living in New York and I was teaching over there.
Oh, I want to go to New York so badly.
Well, yes. Well, it is definitely it's a place to really
Barbie.
it's got an energy that I think midnight doesn't even count. I think the energy of people is like, before the sun even rises. That's the type of energy it has. But I mean,
I distracted you there.
Yes, it really did. But I was teaching over there, and I was working with both. I was working with special ed children within the classroom, and I was supporting them on whatever needs they had within the general education sphere. And afterwards, I got my master's in developmental education. So I took that with me, and I kind of grew the concept of the fact that education just isn't in the classroom. And I think there's so many ways to learn, whether it's peace education or being like green education or women's education. And this whole idea that like learning is all around us, but as simple as that sounds, I think the experience of being able to use my developmental education experience through my master's and actually being able to apply it in different places and implement it, really, it kind of took my vision of what learning is in such a bigger sphere almost. And and I was able to, I worked in India for a little bit and tried,
know that. That's
yeah, it was, I mean, it was all volunteer work, of course, but it was a lot within schools and trying to incorporate, especially because at the end of the day, systems of learning are all driven by the community that people live in, right? And what the needs are. So, India has a different set of needs. The US has a separate, or New York for that matter, had a separate set of
listening
needs.
To those needs and understanding how to service them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where being able to have that, had that experience in the classroom and having had that experience kind of in the international lens kind of really took my concept of just teaching in a very big circle. And when I moved to Belgium, it kind of, it's almost like it was in a circle, but then I kind of went back into the bullseye, because it kind of went back to, okay, what do I want to do at the end? And that's inspire children. That's it, influence children.
Yeah,
And
so simple. So then tell me, you like a really accomplished lady, you've got a wonderful CV, you've got the qualifications. What made you find KLS then, Kids Life Studio and the Kids Life Coach Academy?
I mean, I sometimes I really do believe that it was just meant to be, and it just happened, and COVID was a great push for a lot of people. And I was definitely one of those people where within a week, I quit both the jobs that I had.
Wow.
They called me up and they were like, do you want to continue? And I was like, nope. And I don't know why I said no. Like, I just said no. And
So
it was
intuition.
It was the easiest no, but the hardest no I said, but I never contemplated it when I said
It was the
it,
most life-changing no.
Exactly. And I just did it. And then it was like, okay, you know what? What is it that's giving me this feeling that where I want to go next? And I think it was just fate. Something, I opened up, the internet, things kind of went in whatever direction they had to. And we had a conversation almost not even like a week after I, found out about KLS. And I remember I hung up the phone and I called up my husband. I was like, all right, I think I'm going to do this. He literally was like, okay, you have spent a week researching, you have no other idea what else is, sort of inspiring you. But I was like, yeah, but there's something there that just gave me that feeling of like, you know what, this is what it is, and this is what I want. And I think when you make that leap, and then every passing time or decision that you make there, with after, is almost just a reminder of, yes, I did make that right choice for me. And I think that has been my experience across this whole, in the past 18 months, where it's just, and now I'm looking back and I'm like, oh yeah, no, obviously I wanted to, but you couldn't say that until you took the leap.
Yeah. And when you took the leap, I think like what I loved about you is we offer mentorship sessions and our teaching Tuesdays and thinking Thursdays, and you would always show up as a student when you were learning, but you were the most reflective student. I loved that. You were always asking such great questions, listening. You're a great listener, and you would listen and reflect and ask questions and challenge our thinking. And that's a sign of a really good masterful coach, which so you gave me faith right from the word go that you would be a really fantastic kids life coach. And the thing that really cemented that was when you attended our Press, Pause and Play retreat. You not only are you intellectual, you come with the experience, but you know how to play. And as a play-based coach, you've got to get stuck in there. And so you've kind of so well-rounded. You've got everything going for you. And the thing that I find the most beneficial to people like you who do the training, and what I've noticed with you as well, is the connections you make, the friendships you make, the coaches that you work with around the world. We have such a privilege, don't we, to work all over the world and to learn from each other.
I mean, it's amazing. It's almost like, when we met at the retreat, it was almost like, wait, I already knew these people. It was not like it was an automatic comfort, that just kind of, they just became stronger. And I mean, there was always a little bit of a joke when we were at the retreat where it was like, oh my God, we've only got this much time. We still got to figure this out. And we still got to, talk about this, and we still got to do this. And there was so much of that enthusiasm to support each other and connect at the same time, because at the end of the day, I think we all value that you can only grow with help, and positive help, and knowing that, you're kind of looking after each other as well. So,
well, our coaching model that we use with children is we have 7 key ingredients, and our 7th ingredient that is like a non-negotiable is support. We believe that everybody needs support. So somebody like you who's embraced that support and really integrated yourself and interacted with other coaches. And I love the way you're so willing to learn. That's also like such a great trait to have, because not everybody is eager to learn. I mean, you've got your master's degree. Why would you want to learn more, right? You are always learning and growing. And I think that's why you're such a great coach, is because we are lifelong learners. And if we're not learning, our coachees are not learning.
Yeah.
So we're speaking about the professional side of you, but I want to kind of tap into the mommy side of you a little bit, because you're a mom of two.
Yes.
Well, how did becoming a kids life coach impact you as a mom and your parenting, or like what happened there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really funny because they almost just work symbiotically. And sometimes, a lot of the times, you're not thinking about it as much, right? But I think what the two big factors were, one, it was just reminding of like, you know what, I got to keep having fun with my own kids. Like that's the place where they're going to connect, and that's the place where they're going to remember things, right? So it's like so many times where we've had conversations like, oh, what do you guys want to do? And they'll literally be like, we want to play Uno, because that's how they feel that we're giving them 100, I am giving them 100% of my time, right? So plays become just top notch in our sort of priority list together. And I think the second thing really is a lot of just being okay, or I don't want to use the word forgiveness, but just kind of being a lot more just like aware of like, you know what, this is what being a parent is, this is what being a child is, and allowing yourself to kind of experience it together. Because I do feel that parenting nowadays, education nowadays, whatever you want to say, anything that children are exposed to or children experience, there's kind of an added pressure to it, right? Just because there's so much there's information overload in so many different ways. Absolutely. So I for me, it's just kind of become, okay, I know so many of these things, I've learned about all of these things, but you know what, it's allowing myself to use it and feel it in whatever comfort I feel at that time, and I think that's I think the word is giving yourself grace. That's kind of how I would look at it.
And that's such great advice to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Often as parents, I mean, I'm not a parent, but as parents, I've seen coaches specifically be quite hard on themselves.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's a growth opportunity together with your children. So I was just curious to know, because you've got this professional hat, you've got your mom hat, and I was curious to know how the two kind of married together, because you seem to have eased into it so masterfully. You made it look so easy.
Well, it's definitely, I mean, I think, a big part of our coaching program, let's say, example, it's mindset, right? There's so many things we talk about in terms of just understanding yourself and knowing yourself through the process of it, right? Because that's literally not even a step in the door. That's literally opening the door and walking in. Because once you're there, then your hands open and you're ready to welcome everything. And I find that it was just such a beautiful experience to have that type of mindset work through a coaching program as well, and that's what brought so much, like I said, grace in my way of thinking towards myself, right?
Exactly. And that's one thing that people don't know that they sign up for when they do our training.
Oh, no, not at all.
They don't know that there's going to be personal transformation, because I mean,
yeah,
you coach other people's precious cargo, other people's beautiful children that are so precious, if you're not in a good space yourself.
Yeah.
So the enormous growth that I've seen in you over the past 18 months, and you just continue to do it. You just continue to be committed to growing. And that is the hallmark of a really great kids life coach. And I know anybody who has the privilege of working with you is going to just absolutely see these most amazing results, like you've seen in your own family as well. So on that note, is there any specific area that you like to focus on? Like, do you have a niche or an area of expertise that you like really love delving into?
I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing that that gives me the I really want to help that child is it's the space of mindset in terms of emotions, in terms of self-confidence and things like that. Because I to be honest, those are the parts that I wanted help in, and I think that's what inspires you to help somebody else, right? Like those are the two spaces where I really had to teach myself, and still am teaching myself, because you can't just learn it. Right. So those are the spaces where I think I wouldn't call them niches so much, just because they're two very different concepts, like emotions and confidence. But I think those are the two that really give me that feeling of like
hand in hand really well though.
Yeah, they do go hand in hand. But those are and it's funny because all the clients, all the students I keep saying students just because of teaching, but all the coachees that I've worked with, it's really interesting because all of them have had a part of this. And you take it to the people who come to you, or are meant to come to you for a reason, right?
Absolutely.
As a symbiotic sort of growth. And it really is that. And I do believe that it will continue to be there, where it will not only strengthen my ability to manage confidence and emotions, but strengthen theirs as well. So
Well, on that note, what is your big mission and vision for children? What is it you want for them?
To just have them be superheroes of their own lives. Like really just, wear that cape strong, wear it with a big smile, and just, own up to who they are in a way that they're just proud of it, right? Like,
oh wow, that's powerful. Own up to who they really are, because in this day and age with social media and all the external influences, it's really hard for young people to be individuals and to be unique.
Yeah. And I think it's just so, yeah,
to be themselves and to be confident in that.
It's sometimes it's all about, taking it back to the simplicity behind it, right? Like it's so just easy, but not easy, at the same time. That's what it is.
That's the thing. That's what your job is, right? You're a tour guide. A tour guide, not only for the child that you're coaching, but for the parents who send their child to you for coaching. So you hold a child's hand and you walk the road with them. And if there's a little pothole, you help them navigate that. And if there's a wind in the road, you walk with them and you find the route. If there's a fork in the road, so you're just in such a beautiful position, because you're thinking in terms of how you support children is you open to finding their superhero. That's what that, and whatever that looks like, you're okay with that. Whereas a lot of adults who work with children and who don't go through our training, their expectations of children are sometimes a little bit unrealistic. We've got to meet children where they're at, and we've got to hold their hand until they're ready to walk with us. And I'm just so excited for you. I'm so excited to see where you go. I mean, you've run a few group workshops already, and you're going to be planning a few group workshops in future. So I'm going to be watching that space.
Yeah. And
great testimonials as well.
Yeah. And I'm just going to continue inspired by, I think, the people around us, right? We've got such a great, yeah, we've got such a great network. So
yeah. And it's so wonderful to have you as part of our network. So Coach P, was really lovely speaking to you today, and thank you so much for making the time, and I wish you all the best in your coaching.
Thank you.
Not that you need luck, because it's all about strategy, and you've got strategy. So
well, thank you.
You go.
All right, thank you so much.